Good evening, everyone. Treasure Troller here with the Season 10, Episode 4 recap of Alone. My apologies for not getting this out sooner. Life stuff happened, and I wasn't able to film till Sunday night. So here we go. I think this one is going to be more on a personal thing more than it is technical or survival skills related. I think this episode once again proved the orphan theory to be a very good theory. We had two tap outs again. Luke and Jody. I guess first Jody is once again they try to build the McCabin, and as soon as the McCabin is done, they're gone. There's just something about these contestants, I guess if you want to call them, that have something, that feel like they have some sort of something to prove, some sort of personal goal or belief they have that they need to prove that they can do some things on their own. And once they've done this, then, then they need to talk to their family. Now, I can sort of understand, I can't understand the building the McCabin and then tapping out. I don't think I'll ever quite understand that. The orphan theory is a strong theory. It's hard to argue against the orphan theory, but Jody wasn't really young. It wasn't like she was some 31-year-old or 35-year-old with a 5-year-old at home and felt like they needed to get home. I mean, she's over 50. I don't quite get the family pull like I would someone that's younger. I mean, season 1, Sam left a pregnant wife at home. And aside from being young and having their firstborn on the way, and sometimes anything can happen in a pregnancy, that there wasn't probably a worse time to accept the show, and he managed to finish second. So hats off to him. But this over 50 crowd that feels the need to go home, I mean, to what? I don't get that. She had something personal that she wanted to prove to herself, and once that was done, she was ready to go home. I mean, these building the McCabins is almost like a self tap out. It's almost like you go there to tap out. You go there to basically eat nothing, to starve for, I don't know, a week while you exhaust yourself building this cabin, and by the end you have nothing left. So the only thing to do is to think about home and tap out. As far as Luke goes, I had said before that Luke had nothing to gain and everything to lose by going on this show. And I guess I never really figured out how Luke would tap out, but to me, this is almost a self-induced tap out. This was almost like he got there and didn't want to be there from the very beginning. I said before, I was not impressed with his skills. He was and totally out of his element. I think he got one grouse, probably went 1 for 4 or 1 for 5 with arrows. with his bow, doing well fishing, but drinking the crappy water straight out of the lake. It's almost like he'd done it before and gotten sick, and the only way to really tap out without, I just think it was self-induced. I think he did it, I want to say he did it intentionally. He'd been sick before from drinking crappy water, and this was the easiest, the path of least resistance to tapping out. He didn't have to show the lack of skills in a lot of the areas that he needed. He didn't have to go a very long time and not end up winning because of the family tradition. The only way he could gracefully tap out would be injury or sickness. And I think he chose sickness. I think he drank the water. It's hard to think of it as any other way. He knew he shouldn't be doing it, and he did it. It was the easiest way for him to tap out without having to go through the weeks of being on that island and trying to compete. I think he got there and realized this just wasn't for him. And I didn't think it was for him to begin with. I didn't think he had any business being there. There was nothing to gain and everything to lose by being brought up by a family of survivalists and not winning. So the only way to tap out was really to get sick. To me, that's really what stood out in this show. I mean, we got Wyatt catching and releasing fish. I mean, the live well. I don't think a live well has ever worked. I don't think a live well has ever worked. Taz is, you got predators. That's just always going to happen. Cade. We'll see. I'm moderately impressed that he didn't tap out. I'm still a little bit shocked. Somebody had wrote a thing about the GoPro going out at just basically the time he lost his quiver, but it ran before he lost it and it ran after it, but it wasn't running when he lost it. So you're telling me your GoPro's not working and you lost your quiver of arrows at the same time? I'm calling bullshit on that. But it just really, Alone has got to stop bringing contestants on that have something to prove. They just don't work out well. They just need to bring on people that have skills, that want to, try to use their skills in this type of setting and go till they can't go anymore. But this, I had a bad injury and I've really come back, and now I want to go out there and prove to myself and my family that I'm back. They're just not going to last. That's not why they're there. They're there to build the cabin and to tap out. Luke was a bad choice. I think they need to go by the orphan theory. I mean, if you want a really good Alone season, you need to find 10 orphans all of them that are about 30 to 40 pounds. They put on about 30 to 40 pounds before the show and then let them get out there and compete. That's going to be a show. That's going to be an alone show. They got no reason to go home. They got the body mass to last a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks there without eating. That's going to be the show. But until they start taking advice from Treasure Troller, it's just going to be some sort of show that, you know, tries to introduce these survivalists, and then they get a bump in their business at home, or they become Facebook. They become popular on Facebook or some of the other things. They're really not there to really win it. They're I guess you could say for a little FaceTime. So with that, this is Treasure Troller saying aloha and good day.